edifying influence of sign language across the world. Throughout the history of our world, deaf people have faced oppression and have been overlooked because of their disability. We believe that deaf people are still valued and equal members of our society and deserve the same opportunities as everyone else. We intend to show how the invention of sign language revolutionized life for the deaf, specifically by providing them with a means of access for education. Helen Keller once said, "Blindness separates us from things, but deafness separates us from people." This quote embodies life as a disabled person. People like Helen Keller, who lived with that kind of struggle every day, reveal to the rest of us how much we take for granted. Helen Keller became a famous role model among the deaf and disabled communities as she inspired people and enabled them to accomplish great things despite their disability. Aristotle, a famous philosopher, believed it was impossible for people to be educated without hearing, so deaf people were often neglected. The first record of people communicating with their hands appeared around the 11th century in Spain. In 1760, Pedro Ponce de Leon, a 16th century Spanish monk, was credited for the first sign language. L'Epi, a French educator, founded the first free public sign language school in the world, funded by his own inheritance. The story is that L'Epi met two deaf sisters when visiting a poverty-stricken area of Paris. Their mother wanted her daughters to be educated in religion. Soon after L'Epi started to educate them, he decided to devote his life to educating the deaf. Sign language slowly became more accepted and taught, and early monks in France and Spain began to use the first signs. This led to the first officially recognized sign language as FSL, French Sign Language. The first university for the deaf was Gallaudet University, founded by Thomas Hopkins Gallaudet. Gallaudet met Clerc, a French teacher who taught the deaf during a trip to France. Clerc returned to the United States with Gallaudet and helped him open a school. Gallaudet University opened up new possibilities for the deaf community by providing them with a school dedicated solely to assisting them. He used the philanthropic sector to create this university. The philanthropic sector is the basic idea of helping mankind. However, it is different from the idea of charity. For example, with charity, you would give someone food. With the philanthropic sector, you would teach the person how to make food. The school first opened in August 1817, and this was the beginning of equality for deaf people. To this day, the university still exists in Connecticut. Later, Thomas Gallaudet passed away in September 1851 due to a pre-existing lung condition. It is amazing to see how he impacted and improved the lives of so many, even beyond his death. Thomas Gallaudet suddenly became interested in helping the deaf when he met a young deaf-mute girl named Alice Cogswell. At the age of 9, her father, Mason Finch Cogswell, was neighbors with Thomas Hopkins Gallaudet. Gallaudet was determined to help the young girl, and this is what led to his passion of education for the deaf. With the help of Gallaudet University, education for the deaf spread across the United States. Soon more deaf schools were born across the world because of its impact. Thomas Gallaudet is an active illustration of how one person can make a huge, long-lasting impact based on simply the goodness of their heart. Because of this, deaf schools have become much more modern and received more recognition in their communities. Gallaudet University helped not only deaf, but disabled people with similar circumstances, such as autism.
Hi, my name is Victoria. In my job, I use it for multiple ways. We use it to sign help, to sign for more, to sign stop when a kid is doing something that they're not supposed to be doing. We use it just as a form of communication for all of our students. So most of my students are a very low functioning autistic child. So most of my kids have a mindset of a child that is 2 years old, but they are 4 years old. I have one student who is actually at a 9-month, when she came into our program, she was at a 9-month mindset, but now she's about at a 11-month, and it's been a year since she started school. It's given them a way of communication for us. So when a student needs help or they need more of something, they can ask that without being verbal with it.
And from what you've seen, are children able to easily communicate with sign language?
Yes. If they're able to pick up on the hand signs and how to do it properly, then yes, definitely. I have a student who has had no form of communication. She started in our program and she's now asking for help, asking for more, signing her restroom time, anything like that to communicate with us. ASL opens doors for people to communicate to others. Even if someone isn't quite sure what they're saying, they can take the cues of how the hands are placed and the facial expressions and take that into communication. There have been some people that are like, I don't want my kid to learn sign language, but once they are learning it, they're more open to learn the signs so that they can also have that communication. It's more of the parents, like at first, oh, I don't know it, I don't want to learn it. But the moment that their kid's asking for help at home, they're more open to learning it and learning more as we go. Once they've learned the signs, they are more successful, and we've had kids go into general education classes signing and talking to other kids as well.
One great personal story is a 2-year-old deaf girl named Zoe Jagla. When she would fail to communicate her ideas to her parents, she would frequently throw tantrums. Her parents were sad and unable to find a sign language teacher for a very long time. Finally, Becky Reeder and Beth Chilman, mutual friends who were near, came into their lives and dedicated 2 to 3 days a week to teach the young girl sign language. After many frustrating moments, the little girl started to communicate and her quality of life improved dramatically. In conclusion, we can really see how the actions of Thomas Hopkins Gallaudet made an incredible impact on many deaf people's lives. He fought for them when others didn't and sparked a revolutionizing movement that will still go on to improve the lives of people across the world. Sign language has been the biggest factor to assist disabled people in having the best quality of life possible. This tool has increased communication across history and has nearly ended major oppression and discrimination towards the deaf and disabled.